bringing this full circle in the context of how AI will impact creators or Hollywood or the entertainment industry, I believe that a new class of creators will emerge from the convergence of the entertainment industry. I think it's an exaggeration to say that machines are going to be replacing actors. I think Hollywood probably watches too many movies. AI's potential to improve efficiencies in areas like Foley and post production are real. It's already happening. I think that that's where you're going to see a lot more of advancement in technology being used. But I also want to point out that this technology is also accessible to the creators themselves, like actors and writers alike. When you really think about where power lies, it's in relationships. And so people like Shonda Rhimes and, Christopher Nolan can absolutely create a large language model of their content and it helps them write better. You're going to see AI incorporated into the tools, improving workflow in a way is where you're going to see this productivity efficiency start to occur, I think especially. But this is also a technology that can be leveraged by everyone. And I'll give you an example. Going back to the earlier point I made about Hollywood being one of the biggest exports of American culture, I spent some time in Germany. I was having a dinner with some Germans, having a friendly conversation, and one woman says her favorite actor is Bruce Willis. Okay, I'll bite. Why do you like Bruce Willis? She says, his voice. It's so sexy. And I'm thinking to myself, Bruce Willis has a sexy voice? I never really thought of Bruce Willis as having a sexy voice. And she's like, his voice is so deep. And now I'm really perplexed because I'm trying to remember Bruce Willis's voice. There's this guy at the table as well who either is American or knows a lot about American culture. And so he interjects and he says, in Germany, everything is dubbed in German. There are no subtitles. Every movie that comes here gets dubbed. And if the actor is successful, their dub actor is also successful to keep the continuity. So for many Germans, the German voice of Bruce Willis is Bruce Willis. And this was wild to me because for many actors, their voice is their identity. It's very hard to separate the two. This is 2018. The next day, hanging out with a German guy, I'm just bringing up this conversation again. Is it true that you watch everything in German? You don't watch it in the original language? And he's like, yes, this is 2018. And Denzel Washington has a movie coming out. I want to say it was Equalizer 2. Could have been billboards around the city. The trailer was absolutely out. And so I say to this guy, do you know who Denzel Washington is? And he's like, yes, of course. And I say, do you know what he sounds like? And he's like, yes. And I say, are you sure? And so I find this trailer clip, original audio clip of the trailer for Equalizer 2. And I play it for him, and his face drops. Like, he could not believe, eyes bulging out of his head. He couldn't believe it. To him, that was not Denzel Washington speaking. And this is wild to me, because how do you separate the two? And so fast forward to 2021, I have this insight that dubbing is going to become a thing. Dubbing will become more prevalent as streaming services seek content from all over the world. You've got to start exporting it, putting it in new languages, and that was going to be a thing. Several months later, Netflix, obviously thinking the same thing, announces publicly that they've created a dubbing agency, a partnership of sorts that all over the globe is set up to dub these movies that they acquire. And upon hearing that news, I thought to myself, that's not something a tech company would do. It was really odd to me because this was 2021 and the technology to clone voices was available then. And if I were a tech company that was in the business of streaming, I would have said to Denzel Washington, you should do your next movie here. You should do your next 5 movies here because we can make you speak German. Not another voice speaking German for you, but you can speak German. You can also speak Spanish. You can also speak French tout de suite immediately. This is possible with this technology. That would have been a value add or a value proposition to the actors. And they didn't do that. Why am I saying that? I'm saying this to say, in the context of who has the ability to leverage this technology, I think that SAG-AFTRA and WGA are just as much as a position to leverage this technology as Netflix, HBO, or Disney. I think at the end that SAG-AFTRA is going to have to redefine what it is to be a union and what their value proposition to their own members are, because they have a lot of leverage. They represent all of the actors. And they can absolutely say to their own member, Denzel Washington, your voice is too unique. This is something you can clone. This is something you can own. You can bequeath this in your will of some sort. And so I think they're missing out on that opportunity to do that. Same goes for the WGA, who represents every writer. The leverage in creating the next large language model, LLM, to write scripts is going to come from those who write scripts. That's not Hollywood, that's the writers. And so if there was anyone that had an opportunity to leverage this technology, it's those that are striking right now. Why isn't the WGA building their own large language model and licensing that to Hollywood? Why isn't the SAG-AFTRA representing their actors and saying, we will help you protect your identity and your voices by leveraging this technology so that you're protected? They are absolutely within their power to do that. I'm not sure what tech company they're referring to. They're calling the big boogeyman.
Yeah, you're right. I think that there needs to be like, actually, we may be wrong. We may not know. There might be a technology committee. We just don't know about the technology committee. But well, either way, they need to hire some people like us on that technology committee, if there is a technology committee, because I do think that you should be able to look around the corner and see exactly what's going to happen. And by the way, the dub thing that you brought up is hilarious, because I actually, so because of, being an LGBTQ plus person, I was often asked to say, hey, this is a trans person, and we're looking at voices in these different countries. Does this sound authentic to that person? Like, does this and I was like, you just ask the actor, because I don't know. Like, because it was a thing where they were trying to say they were trying to find someone who was supposed to emote the type of whatever, blah, 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 blah. Well, yeah, I mean, and I think that is the challenge, though, because like when you are in a place that you're dealing with creatives, they were always trying to find this blend between building things and also honoring the way the systems typically worked as well. But to your point, I do agree. Like, so for instance, if I were any type of creative right now who has to be on screen, I would figure out how to trademark every single aspect of my being. And then I would charge a licensing fee to put me in things. And then I just wouldn't show up to that thing. Right? Like, I wouldn't have to leave my house. Like, you want to put me.
Right. One of the biggest things in post-production of movies is sometimes the live recording doesn't take. And so actors have to come back and re-record ADR the voice. This is a perfect opportunity for AI to say, go on to your next thing, Matt Damon, whoever it is. We have your voice. If SAG-AFTRA was really after this, you should, or any actor, actually you don't need SAG-AFTRA. The most expensive thing you're going to pay for is an IP lawyer. You can absolutely do this yourself, protect your voice. And on every set, you would say, here's the voice print that you can use for post.
And I think the other thing that's interesting about that is that, like, then every contract has an addendum in every contract. Because the contract would basically say, sure, I will let you pay me this much to be on set. And then there's a separate fee to be able to utilize blah, 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 because you'd have to license it. And so I think the licensing model actually is what they really want. Actually, by the way, like, based on what they're saying. No, based on what they're saying, it's like they want to be able to say, I want to have more control, is really what it seems like they're saying. I was listening to Samuel L. Jackson. So Samuel L. Jackson was talking about his contracts and how he marks out all that stuff. He's like, I don't want people to be able to do whatever they want with me. And then after that, I started listening to some other people. And so the money is a huge part of it, no joke. But for the bigger actors, it's about having control. Like, how do I control what's going on? It'll be a part of your estate. It'll be a part of your estate, and it can sustain your family for the rest of their life. Because Morgan Freeman can be God in everything.